Hello and welcome to another Reaconteur video, and in today's video I will be going over the 10 stages of a speed user in Type Soul. Make sure to subscribe since only about 20% of the people watching this right now are actually subscribed. And also I'm currently live on Twitch as of this video coming out at twitch.tv/Reaconteur, so drop in over there and watch me play video games. Now let's get into it. Stage 0.5 is only available to speed users who have been playing speed since before Type Soul's re-release. Back in its original prime, I am one of these players. Regardless, the speed player who has gone through Stage 0.5 has lived through speed's prime and wishes to see it restored to its former glory. Stage 0.5 may not be possible to go through now, but it has left a lasting effect on all those to go through it. Due to how strong it once was, anyone who's gone through this stage will remain mostly loyal to speed, unable to completely leave it behind no matter how hard they try. Which is kinda sad, because speed will probably never be as good as it was a year ago, and it will probably remain one of the weakest trees for 1v1s forever. Stage 1 is the new guy, and this is generally just a new player who initially starts out Type Soul unknowing of what they want to put their main skills into, or their points into. During Stage 1, some people generally just progress and put points into speed because it sounds cool or because they want a better flash step. Others won't start with speed immediately, but will probably move to it in the near future after discovering it properly. Stage 2 is the skill issue stage, and generally at this point the new player starts suffering from a disease known as skill issue. It actually plagues a lot of people, but it mostly plagues most new-gen speed and Keto players before they chose their tree. By the way, Keto is actually pronounced Kaido, that's how they say it in Bleach, so to the people that were making fun of my pronunciation in the last video, I do bad things to yourself. Anyway, generally the Stage 2 soon-to-be speed player will struggle with either Kendo or Hakuda because they heard those were the best trees. However, due to their relative complexity in correlation with the Stage 2 player's lack of skill, they proceed to look for something easier. Many will go on to Kaido, but today's video isn't on Keto, it's on speed, which leads us into Stage 3. In Stage 3, the speed main has finally discovered the speed skill tree and its abilities. They most likely discovered it after someone told them it was one of the easiest trees in the game, without any sort of sacrifice or downside. What I mean by downside is that speed is the only tree you can get a maximum flash step while putting all of your points into it. Which means speed is the only tree you can invest all your points into it, and also get, like the ideal flash step. Generally at this point, they're probably just playing full speed and like to spam any skill boxes they have, if any, like Stratus Strike, Ghost Cleave, straight into Time Cut, every time without fail, even if it doesn't work very well. In Stage 4, the speed user finally starts to enjoy Type Soul. At this point, it is expected for them to be a Quincy or Soul Reaper because, lots of the speed moves get buffed through the transformations. They also probably started learning actual combos, which although there aren't many, there are some speed combos such as Rising Fang into Flash Fang into Time Cut. The speed player begins improving significantly as a positive side effect from enjoying the game. And a lot of the time during Stage 4, speed users will get really overconfident, which is why you have a lot of mediocre speed players saying easy after winning fights that they didn't deserve to win, or even just getting mad when they lose fights that they were gonna lose anyway, and blaming the game or what they were fighting against as being overpowered because they can't parry Hakuda. However, all the improvement that they get through Stage 4 is kind of put to a halt when Stage 5 comes into play. In Stage 5, the speed user usually starts out by getting absolutely embarrassed by a Hakuda or Kendo user in either ranked or the overworld. This makes the speed user aware that while speed can work, it's generally less effective against really good players, which is why they struggle against people who are good at the game, and they stomp noobs with their mediocre skill box combos that they saw off of YouTube. This new loop of losses will cause the speed player to enter a state of desperation where they're willing to get better or improve at their build at any cost, as long as it will improve their win rate, which will go into Stage 6. In Stage 6, the speed user will begin to abuse popular builds with lame combos and confirms. Examples of this include Kato Speed, where they spam Stratus Strike Hollow Bite confirms, And if this was a few weeks ago, they'd probably be spamming Aerial Calibre Crit, which by the way, it is Calibre, not Caliber, to escape combos for free. Another popular build is 40 speed 25 Kendo Soul Reaper, as this build has a lot of true combos from moves with speed and Kendo, such as Rising Fang, Rising Swallow, Flash Fang, Sonata Flow, and this build is generally super easy to use, which is why it's a meta build and why a lot of people choose to use it. Stage 6 players are desperately trying to improve their win rates, and the usage of such cheese builds will hinder their skill growth and potential long term. Many people never recover from Stage 6 and will continue to abuse cheesy meta builds for the rest of their time on Type Soul, rather than committing to a build and trying to focus on actually improving their skill. These are coincidentally the same players who hop builds every update and wonder why they get nerfed so much when they can't stick to a single build and get good at the game. For those of you who are still stuck on Stage 6, let me give you some advice. The reason why your build gets nerfed every update is because you hop to the strongest build every update. So maybe stick with something, and this knowledge can help you reach Stage 7. Recovery from Stage 6 is a long and grueling process, but anyone who reaches Stage 7 is likely to revert to full speed, or use a Hakata speed build similarly to mine. Most Type Soul players in this stage will finally commit to mastering speed. Many people in this stage and above are likely to get called out for running in ranked. But the thing is, lots of people who say that don't understand that speed lacks combos most of the time. The ideal playstyle for speed is a hit and run playstyle. That's why people run with speed. So stop complaining and just learn how to pressure properly, because Kendo can actually counter it pretty well. Anyway, Stage 7 players adapt this hit and run counter based playstyle, and although speed is the weakest tree, many people will use it well to still win in ranked fights against usually worse players. And those worst players are the same ones that complain about running, Hakata, Kendo, Kato, and, healing, because they lose to everything anyway. At stage 7.5, which not everyone goes through, but many people who use speed will quit playing ranked with speed builds. The reason for this is because speed is the hardest skill tree to scale by strength. It's the weakest 1v1 based tree, but it manages to be the strongest tree for boss raids and group fights due to AoE moves and the ability to kite and dodge well, as long as good hyper armor and evasive moves. People who choose to quit the ranked arena are returning to the roots of Type Soul and are gaining increased experience against groups of players to hone that playstyle needed for boss raiding, which is very respectable. Now, every point stage, so basically any stage that's a 0.5 of something, not everyone goes through it and many people will skip it, and this is one of those stages. The Stage 8 speed user has become a reverse ganking specialist. They understand speed is weak in 1v1s, and may have quit ranked, although not all have. A Stage 8 speed user is mostly found in the overworld, attacking random groups of people at a time, hoping to get jumped so they can farm clips where they somehow win 6v1s against people popping modes. I had a really good example of this where I won a 7v1 against some Soul Reapers, but Nvidia Shadowplay decided to clip a black screen instead of my game, so enjoy whatever background footage is playing right now instead of the clutch 7v1. At stage 9, the speed player has gone through a bout of boredom and anger to some extent. This is most likely due to the fact that they need to farm boss raids to get better gear at this point. Speed's largest weakness is that it consumes more Reiatsu than even Quincy Keto builds, meaning as a speed user you need the best Reiatsu and Reiatsu regeneration equipment as possible, which means farming boss raids, just so you can compete with people. The exception to this stage is for Soul Reapers who can pop Visored for basically infinite Reiatsu, but then they often need to farm boss raids anyway to get more health, because the weakest part of Soul Reaper is the health, not like it really matters that much. Those who make it past stage 9 can potentially reach stage 10 with enough trading. But this is a little bit off topic, but oh my god, why are the devs putting all of the best gear in the game behind boss raids when boss raids suck? The Hakata boss keeps sending me under the map and I can't beat him because of that, and then all the other bosses just take so long to beat. I'll be in there for 10 minutes with a healer and my friend, and then we're doing this for 10 minutes trying to get loot just for us to get hog frags or something. Boss raids suck. They're not fun. They're not fun. Nobody enjoys boss raids. They suck. Anyway, on to stage 10. A player in Stage 10 has mastered their technique as a speed user almost entirely. Their Reaconteur management is nearly flawless, and they don't run out in 1v1s as much except for against really good players. Their combos and mix-ups are elite, and they often catch people in combos that aren't true just because of the difference in skill. And they are an absolute boss raid demon capable of taking on groups of people and coming out on top almost every time. A Stage 10 speed user is something to behold, and this is me. I'm flexing. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Big shout out to Kenix, Jake, and new member Reaconteur of the $10 YouTube membership tier. And a massive shout out to Cyberboy21 of the $20 large guy membership tier. I hope you all enjoyed. Keto, Kaido will be next, and then probably healing. I love you all. Have an amazing day, and goodbye.